Hello everyone, it's Mallory here with All About Cats. In this week's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at another automatic litter box. This time, we're reviewing the PetSafe Simply Clean. So the PetSafe Simply Clean is pretty interesting in the way that it approaches the whole issue of self-cleaning. So instead of detecting your cat's presence in the litter box like most other automatic litter boxes do, the PetSafe Simply Clean uses a constant rotating motion in order to collect waste and move it into a waste receptacle. So overall, pretty interesting, right? So over the last week, my cats and I have been trying out the PetSafe Simply Clean, and in today's video, I'm going to be coming to you with all of the details and telling you whether or not I think that this self-cleaning litter box is worth it. Stay tuned until the end to get all the details. All right, so let's jump into it. So before we start talking about the PetSafe Simply Clean's performance, let's just go over what you get in the box. So when you receive the PetSafe Simply Clean, you're going to have to start by setting everything up. So compared to some of the other automatic litter boxes that I've tried out, I found that the PetSafe Simply Clean was a little bit more challenging to set up. So there are a few more parts and it's a little bit more finicky with placement than some other automatic litter boxes on the market. So once the Simply Clean is assembled, it measures 26 inches by 15.5 inches by 10 inches. Although its outside dimensions are relatively generous, this is a really small litter box for your cat. And that was really the first thing that I noticed when I had assembled it. So your cat is going to be using this ring-shaped area that measures about 9 inches wide on the inside. That's a pretty small space for a cat to be using. As soon as I had assembled the PetSafe Simply Clean, I knew that its small size might be an issue. Before I was ready to start using the Simply Clean, of course I had to add some cat litter. Now the Simply Clean is compatible with any type of clumping cat litter. It's, like most automatic litter boxes, going to work best if you use a good hard clumping litter like Dr. Elsey's Ultra, which is what I used. But you can also use it with a biodegradable litter like perhaps World's Best cat litter or Smart Cat's clumping grass litter also works quite well. You're going to be looking for a good hard clumping litter regardless of what type you're opting for. Once everything is set up, you've added your litter and the Simply Clean is plugged in, well, it's going to be time to use it. Again, unlike the majority of automatic litter boxes, this unit doesn't work by detecting the presence of a cat in the litter box. Instead, it moves constantly. So the bowl is constantly rotating, making a full rotation every 1.5 hours. And as it rotates, clumps run into this waste guide, which moves everything up this conveyor, which slowly moves any clumps and solid waste up into a waste drawer. So whether your cat is in the litter box or not, it's just constantly, almost imperceptibly moving. I found that the PetSafe Simply Clean ran relatively quietly. So for example, it's running in the background right now. You might be able to tell that there's a little bit of a hum, a little bit of occasional creaking, but overall it's quite quiet, especially compared to a lot of other automatic litter boxes. But how does this rotating mechanism actually work for keeping the litter box clean? So in my experience, the PetSafe Simply Clean was a little bit inconsistent. So it was running into a lot of malfunctions. And this seems to be an experience encountered by a lot of other users of the PetSafe Simply Clean. So as soon as I had it set up, I noticed that the light on the side, instead of being green, which means that it's ready to operate and that everything is functional, it had a red light. And so the red light suggests that there's an issue with the conveyor motor. So as the user manual suggested, I unplugged it and then plugged it back in, and the light went back to green. So that seemed okay. But then after I had it set up and the light was green, I would notice that it would switch to a blinking blue light. And that apparently means that either the conveyor cover or the waste drawer is not in place. So I had to kind of bump it around and adjust everything to get it back to the green light. And then I would go back a few hours later, and without me having really done anything, the light had gone back to that blinking blue, and the PetSafe Simply Clean wasn't moving anymore. So there was waste just building up in there. It wasn't being cleaned. I was eventually able to set it up so that it continued functioning for a few days at a time. So that was towards the end of my testing period. So I don't know if I'm going to be running into this issue again. Although I was eventually able to get the PetSafe Simply Clean running smoothly and it worked well for the majority of my 1-week test, I've seen a lot of other customer reviews suggesting that there were significant malfunctions, usually within the first week of use. So according to customer reviews, it's really common for one or both of the unit's motors to just stop working. While it was running smoothly, I found that the PetSafe Simply Clean did a pretty good job of keeping everything clean. So as it would rotate, any larger clumps and chunks would be directed up that conveyor and move back into the waste receptacle. I found that this worked pretty well. Any big clumps were captured, guided away, and moved out of the main litter bowl. Now, I did find that some smaller pieces were able to make it through that litter guide and just continue their journey around in the litter bowl. So there were some little crumbs remaining in the litter box. So there definitely were some particles remaining in the litter box that you would probably be able to pick up if you were using a traditional litter scoop. Another thing I noticed was that the PetSafe Simply Clean doesn't seem to be that good at controlling odors. So even though it was picking up the majority of the waste from the litter bowl and moving it into that waste receptacle, I was noticing a pretty significant amount of odor coming from the litter box. So I don't know if this is because the waste receptacle wasn't sealed very well, or perhaps it's the placement of the carbon filter. I'm not exactly sure what's the cause of this, but I definitely noticed more odor coming out of this litter box than from many other automatic litter boxes I've tried. One area where the PetSafe Simply Clean seems to excel is in controlling litter scatter. Now, it's a curious situation because this is a pretty small litter box, right? But that rim guard seems to do a very good job of holding litter inside of the litter box. The area around the litter box remained quite clean. So about once a week, you're going to want to discard the contents of the waste receptacle. So in order to do that, you'll slide it out and then pull your bag up out of the receptacle and then throw the contents away. So I found this process to be pretty easy and straightforward. So unlike the PetSafe Scoop Free that uses those disposable litter trays or the Litter Maid that uses disposable waste receptacles, this PetSafe Simply Clean allows you to decide which types of bags you want to use and kind of frees you from the need to buy all of these replacement parts, so to speak. So what did my cats think of the PetSafe Simply Clean? They seem to like it, actually. So even though the PetSafe Simply Clean has a pretty small litter area, I don't think that my cats felt uncomfortable with that litter area. I don't think that they were bothered by the constant motion of the Simply Clean, and I also don't think that they were bothered by the sound that it makes. So how much does the PetSafe Simply Clean cost? I bought the Simply Clean for $99.95, and it's generally priced around that $100 price point. So that's a little bit cheaper than some other automatic litter boxes, but it's not the cheapest. I'd say it's kind of a moderately priced automatic litter box. Although my experience was actually relatively good, I can't say that I would recommend the PetSafe Simply Clean to others. It's just too prone to malfunctions. I encountered a few issues, and I know from customer reviews that a lot of people are encountering really serious malfunctions that render the PetSafe Simply Clean completely unusable. So that's a really big problem. If the company could find a way to make the PetSafe Simply Clean perform a little bit more consistently, I think that this could be one of the best automatic litter boxes on the market. But at this point, it just isn't a reliable enough choice. That being said, it's not all bad. Some people are enjoying the PetSafe Simply Clean. Some people have done their own modifications to make it work consistently. So it could be a good choice for some people. If you're interested in learning more about the PetSafe Simply Clean and seeing if it could be a good option for your home, check out the description. There you'll find a link to it so you can check it out for yourself. While you're in the description, you'll also find a link to sign up for our free recall alert program. It's one of the best ways to stay informed and keep your cat safe. Alright, so that's it for our review of the PetSafe Simply Clean. I hope that it gave you a better understanding of how this cool rotating automatic litter box works. If you've used the PetSafe Simply Clean yourself, I would love to hear about your experience in the comments. If you like this video and are interested in more product reviews, buyer's guides, and information on all things cats, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you get the news every time we release a new video. Thanks. Bye.